Did Lilo and Stitch's controversy officially secure the downfall of Disney? Disney's had some pretty bad live-action remakes as of recent years, but major changes made to the story of Lilo and Stitch have fans questioning why Disney seems to have an endless supply of live-action remakes when they flop, every single time. So, let's dive into what went wrong with Lilo and Stitch 2025 and if live-action remakes still matter. So what actually went wrong with the new Lilo and Stitch film? Well, for one, the redesigns of Pleakley and Jumba underwent some massive scrutiny. Considering the newest Lilo and Stitch rode the live-action wave of hype, it would make the most sense for the studio to capitalize on the film's two alien characters, Pleakley and Jumba, being brought to life. But instead of bringing an artistically creative twist to the lovable otherworldly creatures, Disney decided to make them human. Literally, the entire movie. Where's the fun in that? What the heck is the point of a live-action film if you're not gonna bring the two coolest characters to life with their original designs? So, Pleakley and Jumba were portrayed by Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnuson, which, by the way, is really good casting. I'm not denying that, but let's get those guys in some motion capture suits or something. We did get to see the two live-action alien designs for a bit in the beginning of the movie, but according to the director, their screen time had to be significantly reduced due to a small budget of $100 million, because apparently Lilo and Stitch 2025 was only meant for a Disney Plus release. Aside from this controversial character design decision, one of the biggest changes to the Lilo and Stitch plot was the film's ending. In the original movie, one of Nani's best character traits was her dedication to keeping Lilo by her side. It's implied that Nani gave up a career in professional surfing just so she could care for her little sister, but that's not necessarily the case in the new version. At the end of the 2025 remake, Nani decides to give up guardianship of Lilo to her neighbor so that she can attend college and study marine biology in California. Before I dive into how the director responded to this critique, I want to point out a massive issue with this plot point. Nani wants to leave Hawaii to study marine biology, when the state of Hawaii not only has the best institutions for studying marine biology, but there are programs at the University of Hawaii that offer massive scholarships or full rides for Native Hawaiians in marine biology. So what the heck is Nani doing going to the state of California? Anyways, I thought I'd point that out. Director Dean Camp claimed that the original film's ending did not accurately portray the spirit of Ohana, stating in an interview with Variety that Lilo and Nani would never be expected to fend for themselves. He said, "Neighbors, church groups, aunties and uncles, all these people would step in. That's just the Hawaii I know and grew up in." So essentially, Camp didn't feel that Nani abandoned her sister. He felt that she was putting her needs first while also making sure that her sister was well taken care of. But I'm just not super convinced. I don't understand why Camp felt the need to make changes to an already impeccable story. Now that we've talked about what went wrong with one of Disney's newest live-action remakes, let's dive into exactly why these films seem to flop so bad. Well, the strive for photorealism in animation may be partially to blame for the influx of live-action adaptations. Let's first take a look at the 7 eras of Disney and where things started to take a turn. We've got the Golden Age from 1937 to 1942, which includes Disney's first ever films like Pinocchio, Snow White, etc., followed by the Wartime Era, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and the Disney Renaissance, all of which only featured 2D animated films. Then, in the post-Renaissance era, we see the introduction of 3D animated movies. While most of Disney's films were 2D animated during its first 75 years, things really changed in 2010 with the release of Tangled. Disney had multiple 3D animated successes, such as Bolt and Meet the Robinsons, but none quite compared to the adoration of Disney's adaptation of the story of Rapunzel. Disney and Pixar continually strive to develop new animation techniques to make their 3D animated films appear more lifelike. One of my favorite examples of this goal can be observed in the production process of Pixar's best movie to date, The Incredibles. Okay, that is just my opinion. Please prove me wrong in the comments. During the production of The Incredibles, Pixar's animators were uncertain that the technology needed to animate Violet's hair even existed. Through a complicated series of steps, it was accomplished. However, since Tangled, Frozen, and Moana, the standards for realistic appearances have continually risen. Fun fact, the animators for Finding Nemo made the ocean waves appear so photorealistic that their superiors told them to lower the quality. Otherwise, competing studios might have believed they used live-action footage as a shortcut. With the desire for realistic environments came the experimentation with live-action adaptations. At first, these adaptations were not failures. Cinderella 2015 stuck closely to the original story, maintaining the wonder and beauty of the classic tale. In contrast, The Lion King from 2019 is essentially a shot-for-shot remake of the original film with CGI renderings that appear cold and unimaginative. And don't even get me started on Rachel Zegler's Snow White film. Back in June, the COO of Disney actually came out with a statement claiming that the studio had plans to return to 2D animated films, and this could be the best decision they've ever made. Returning to the basics of what made the studio great in the first place. So who's to thank for this decision? Well, for one, I believe Sony's Into the Spider-Verse is responsible. Their incredible creativity and unique art style completely changed the game in modern animation. But it wasn't because they achieved lifelike character models and environments. In fact, they kind of went backwards. They adapted the comic book style that superhero fans know and love from Stan Lee's original Marvel stories. Some of the sequences even resemble 2D animated stylizations. It was groundbreaking, and competing studios were scrambling to keep up. However, anime's impact on American entertainment media must also be credited in this discussion, as it continues to prove that 2D animated films and TV shows can be well-rounded, thoughtful, and enticing to a wide range of audiences. Sailor Moon and Detective Conan, for example, appeal to younger audiences with bright color palettes and lighthearted messages. At the same time, Berserk and Attack on Titan contain complicated plot lines and adult themes, including violence and bloodshed. Time and time again, anime has proved that 2D animations are not only targeted to children, and that unoriginal remakes of older stories simply aren't necessary. Since The Princess and the Frog, very few 2D animated films have been released by Disney. Instead, most classic stories, and even some video games, receive live-action adaptations. While some are successful, such as Amazon Prime series Fallout, most are heartless cash grabs attempting to ride the coattail of well-known classics. Some of Disney's live-action films are remakes of their original source material with few changes, but others lack the magic that 2D animation brought. In the case of Snow White, other remakes pay little homage to their original stories, taking away the very elements that audiences looked forward to seeing. Disney is so caught up in bringing their classic stories to life, they forgot why these tales are loved in the first place. They bring imagination, wonder, and a childlike joy to a multi-generational global audience. When asked a question that contained the word realistic, John Lasseter, the former chief creative officer of Pixar, replied in an interview with Charlie Rose, "I never want to produce a world that people think exists." While there is beauty in countless live-action films, there are specialized components of filmmaking that only 2D animation can cultivate. Capturing relatable, real-world issues in media is essential, but ultimately, audiences are drawn to their favorite films and TV shows to escape reality, and this is what Lilo and Stitch 2025 failed to accomplish, proving, once again, that live-action remakes aren't just unnecessary, they're completely ruining Disney's reputation. What did you think of this live-action remake deep dive? Will Disney hold up on their promises to return to 2D animation, or will it fall through? What other live-action remakes completely missed the mark? Am I being too harsh about Lilo and Stitch? What kind of Disney projects are you hoping to see in the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives just like these. Thanks again for watching ScreenRant, and I'll see you in the next one.